Well, hello. Get rolling a little bit early today, a couple minutes. So, got everything refactored, and we now have the ability to have our selections fix themselves. That's good. We also have room deleting working again, and it deletes the connections for that room, which is fantastic. What is next? I think we still have a couple bugs, I think. We need to add the addition of connections. That's a thing. But why do I think I still have bugs? Let me take a look. And if I noted them down, bugs or to-dos or whatever. Just pull this over here. We probably still want to do that. This has been fixed. This has been fixed. I should archive these at some point. We'll do it after this big old task is finished. We'll kind of start with a fresh new done column. Periodically go and do that. This has been done. That still needs to be fixed, I'm pretty sure. That still needs to be fixed, right. And then this is the main. Okay, so we got a couple little things to do still. But we also, as part of the task at hand, need to get the ability to add tiles in place. And we also need to do something with the idea of the template, right? We still need to implement all of that stuff. But we're getting there. It's coming together. We need to figure out how to do that too. This is going to... We're going to break that out. We don't need that right now. Well, let me think here. We might want that right now. We'll do that as part of this one too, because we use it in here. I think we'll evaluate. But we know for sure that this is going to be no bueno if we don't have the ability to add connections back to rooms or new connections. So let's go ahead and take a look. That's going to be an edit bar. We're done with map for now. We're done with message broker for now. We're done with connection tiles for now. And we're done with connection for now as well. So, we can go check out edit bar land, button bar. No. It needs to appear anytime we have the connections window, or element, I should say, which is anytime we have the form up, basically. Because if we're selecting rooms, we need to be able to add. We're selecting connection, we need to be able to add too. So I believe that the correct place for this is going to be in... Let's see, where do we build this again? Put these down here. And with the rest of the non-exported stuff, except for this guy who is exported and maybe doesn't need to be. Connection parent frame. Yeah. We did that because we wanted to do something with it. We run this again real quick. We go to inspect land. Frame 3. Actually, we're going to need to have everything selected first, I believe. Frame 2. No, sorry, frame 1. Yeah, connection table. Yes. Don't remember if we set this name only for us or from... Okay, yeah, no. Because we get the section by name. That's right. And did we fix... I can't remember if this was ever truly resolved or not. When we have a room with lots of connections, and we get down here, we start deleting stuff. No, it doesn't. And it's just the Cogent thing. Okay. But this gets it if it already exists. And then we start adding, or else we create it. And then we start adding the bits and pieces here. So our expander, all of that. Okay. So that can probably stay. It's probably fine. But here, I think is where we're going to want to have let me run this again real quick. Figure out exactly where we're going to put this. Frame 2, because we fixed that. No, sorry, frame 3, because we fixed that. Connection table is that. So we want an element in this table. But, or we could put it below, because it goes in something. It goes in form parent. And if we were to put it in form parent, then it would always be below. But we only want it to appear when we have something selected. Which, if we deselect that, we don't have that child anymore, which makes sense, right? So maybe that is the correct place. But we don't put it inside of this new frame. We put it after. So we can say, new button, also on parent, and because this gets dynamically added if it doesn't exist yet. I think this is going to result in duplicate buttons getting added. So maybe that's not the correct place. Maybe it is here. Probably want icon add. Let's just do that. We'll need to give it a name in a second, but we just add it. Make sure it looks halfway like what we want. Now, it is MIA. Why is it MIA? Connection section, transit container. That's right. We put the transit inside of a container, which is inside of. Okay, maybe we need to hang it off that. Because then when the container gets deleted, it'll clean that up. No, we don't want that though. Okay, that adds it after every one of them, right? Because we move this to be only one widget. Okay. I remember now. That is indeed, oops, the tidier way, I think. So this is what, okay. This is when we select the tile. Room connection in that range. We give it the room connection parent. No, that's update data. You get added because this has you. Form parent. Okay. We want to it's not frame though. You hang on. Form parent. Form container. But that is edit bar form. I think it does go in frame. So this would only appear when we click on a room tile right now. That goes down there. What did I call this? Connection table, frame 0. This is just frame 1. So I didn't give it a name. Okay, so when we build frame, it would have to be form container. I'll let extract. It builds the data structure. Form parent. Give it form container. Set the struct. Create transit data. Builds the data struct. We do that. After we've parsed them all out, we build a room connection widget. Or connection edit widget, rather. You go on form parent. So that should be correct. Yeah, there you are. Now we just need to put you, double check here. Action table. Why are you down there? It's because there's a gap on form parent. Does connection table always exist? It should always exist. I don't think it always exists right now, which is why we have this, where every time we fire this, we say, hey, if I don't exist, please make me. But what we could do This is tree.node. And then this would become parent. And then we can move this here. We wouldn't need to check it anymore. We just put it there. And if it's empty, it's empty. That's fine. Fix that. And then that. And then that, because it comes after, should put it at the end, right? Oops, we need to... right. So we would need... Well, no, because all of our children get deleted between selections. So we just need to make sure you exist here. I think. Like that. And that'll ensure that whenever we select a thing, it gets built, gets put in there. I have... You are parent now. Got one more reference to you somewhere. Nope, never mind. Sorry. Old message. It was just recompiling. And then you're still here. Okay, fantastic. We just need an on-click for you. And I want you to be over with the right-hand side. Kind of keep the flow of the UI the same. Also want to double check. Get over there. Does not appear here. We need to, because we didn't. We just fixed the reference. That's right. We need you to appear here. If that... It always wants to appear there, though. What we should really have is have it be part of the creation of this. But if we do this, it will be... in the wrong order when we add things and remove things, because it's just a stack. We would need to... I don't know if it's sufficient to try to push it to the end or not. Let's find out. And we need Don't know if that'll work. Let's find out. No. So then if we were going to do this, we would need to this, that, that, and then we still hand back the parent frame or the table frame. We need to put you like so into column. I think you inherit that now? I don't remember for sure. Let's find out. No, you don't. But that part works. So you need to do that again. And then and let's call you connection table frame. Sure. And then this needs to be yes. This needs a wrapper because otherwise it won't style correctly. New frame, not new button. This takes wrapper. This needs and then we do that. And then we won't need that. We won't need that for now. Let's just do that for a placeholder because we're going to need that eventually. We're going to need to have a on click. Okay, you're not justified correctly. What's going on there? One. Did I forget to put you in? I did. You're still in wrapper. That's better. Okay, Now we just need to, and then we get this for free. I like that a lot. And then we just need to have our on-click handler. And actually, if we're going to build it that way, then you can just go back to this. It's probably less efficient, probably, but it's fine. But we renamed you to connection table frame. Like so. And then this, we should already have this needs to go down with the rest of its ilk. That ilk being internal bits and pieces. Kind of go with the rest of the widgets. By that logic, this should go here as well. Kind of organize things a little bit. So we have this. Except this takes a connection tile. I don't want to do this. Because it's going to be difficult to fill in this form, right? The from a user standpoint as well. Because if you're in here, and let's just say you don't have, oop, I need to fix that. Why is that? It was not that a minute ago. If these build, did I screw up and have them build a new? Day 2, they build a new connection table for each one. That's not right. Let's fix that really quick. It's because you don't have a child. Okay. It's because you don't have this anymore. Because the form parent has the wrapper now. Crap. Okay. We are going to go back to just ensuring it gets put in, and we're going to get rid of this constant anyway. That's we'll do that. Do that. You need that. Select the tile, select the connection. That should fix my issue. Yes. Okay. So if you're in one of these, and let's say you only have one connection, you click add. We could programmatically figure out which connection is missing, but what if you're trying to add another connection? I almost think actually that maybe you shouldn't be able to add a connection here. You can only do it on a tile. Even so, let's say you have no connections or only one. You want to add a connection, you click plus. There's no provision here for what to connect to. And the only way we would know is by having you put in coordinates or something, which kind of sucks. To me, it seems like this should go, all right, which one do you want to connect to, and you should click it. But if we do that, we have to handle this a little differently. And that kind of sucks. We can get the event. That's not a problem. I guess what we could do is say it is a select. It is a room tile. And then we can say we can put a state here because we have, right? Hopefully in yeah, these are in edit bar. But this guy isn't. The button doesn't have a reference to edit bar, nor should it really. We would need to, well, no, we can't even store a reference to that. We would need to wonder if this on click would fire first. Let's find out. If we were to do this, let's look at the docs real quick. We need probably concepts, events. We can get position. We don't really want that though. What do we, what other things do we have access to? Type of the events. Don't want that. Oh, you know what we can do? Because our... Well, we still don't have a reference to edit bar. So we can't use the message bus directly without putting in a reference in. Which might not be the end of the world, right? But if we're going to do that, we might as well just do a state. And actually, that's an interesting idea for button bar. Instead of creating and sending a channel for it to talk back to me on, maybe I should tell it to emit a message with a new topic, because we kind of switch things around to do that. We need to make sure that we drop messages with no subscriber in message broker. So all dispatch cares about is a topic string and a message. And we do drop it. We still would need to defer an unsubscribe, but that's probably fine. I would like that more because it then doesn't need us to create and dispose of channels constantly. We'll do that in a minute. Or should we do that now? Because that will facilitate this. If we were to make you a method, or actually, we could give you a parent and a broker. And that would be, or we could write this say handle tile click or await tile click. And we could say you give me a timeout. I have a deadline. I've already done something like this. We have a wait response in message broker. That's right. So we would need a timeout and a topic and a timeout. And then we would have, here I've called it channel. And that's because, oh, right, because I did. Okay, never mind. Hang on. This does take a channel. Which might be fine because we would need to register this in the onClick and say, hey, I'm interested in these messages, which would register here to get them and return us a channel. So that's fine. So here we just do await response instead of a topic. Take a message broker message. Channel timeout. This is this doesn't take that though. We'll need to fix that. So yeah, we will need to do this work first, but I think I'm okay with that. I think I like this a lot more. Because we can put the defer into the await functions. And this wouldn't even need to be a method off of edit bar because we provide the channel. We still need to give this the broker to say, hey, this is your broker to register with. But that's fine. So let's do this. We'll do that. 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 Get rid of this for now. This goes over to that. Oh, right. You. Just that. Can I? I would need to. Okay, I can still I can return nil. That's fine because it's an interface. I don't need this anymore. That will break this. I won't need that. I won't need that. You might still run, though. Because we didn't really do anything for testing the responses because it's just a channel. Okay, yeah, good. May or may not have been a mistake to exclude that, but it worked out in this case. So we'll call it a win. Okay, so now we will need to... This is this. Await tile click. We'll either return, we'll return a connection tile widget and an error. So if error is not nil, return nil error. Otherwise, the dot data. Actually, we want to also no, because we'll make a channel that nothing else is using, so we don't need to care about that. We just want to make sure that this is a connection tile widget. If it's okay, return tile widget nil, return nil error. That. This is that now. We don't have that anymore. Hi, I started learning Golang. It's my first language. I started writing a project and I just can't figure out how to do it. I forgot all the syntax in an instant. Practice, man. Practice will help. And breaking it up into smaller steps will also help. So if you have, let's say just for an example, you want a program that, you type something into it and it responds, right? The very first step that I would take is to set it up and write hello world. Okay, that's your output. You know it needs to output something, it needs to write it to the console. So make it say hello world to the console. The next thing I would do is I would take input. Just get it to take input and then echo it back out to the console, right? That's another small step. Now you're going to want it, let's say, to do that over and over again until you type exit. So make it do that over and over again until you type exit. And then you can start saying, okay, well, here's how I want to handle these. You know, if you say hello, I want to say hi back, right? So you can make a function to do that, and you can just kind of Lego brick it together up and up and up. The biggest enemy is the blank page. Okay, so we don't have is error anymore, which is... Yeah, you bet. Because I don't have an error state anymore because it's no longer a response. Because it all just goes over the same channel. Well, we could still have response. Not response channel though. This can still go in data. Let's do that. We can just say, and we'll doc string. I want to write it that way. I want to say there. But let's spell it right, you know, for fun. Here we go. So then we can come in here. That's still good. But we need to say oh, we already used response there. This. That. If this is okay, then we can do all this inside of here still. And then that shouldn't have. Otherwise, at the end here, if that fails, then do that. And this is that. No, data. Here we go. And then I don't need that. I don't need that. We'll need to fix that, but that's fine. That's about to fix this up a little bit, but that's fine. This, let's fix up map as well. It's going to be sending wrong things now. Fine and dandy. Fine and dandy. And here we'll need to give this extra parameter. Okay, let's do one thing at a time here. We need to, as part of a message, give it a response topic. Like so. It should fix up our test. Good. And then in our types here, sort of response channel, like so. Setter, broker message. Like so. So as part of this, we need to I think I want this to not have a channel, but to we're just gonna do apparently my attempt to resolve my occasional disconnect didn't work. Remove Dishy. Check and see if it's updated yet. I moved Dishy and it was a little better, but apparently it has not solved my issue completely. Take a look. You claim an obstruction, but your map isn't populated. You don't tell me anything about it. But I see an 8-second. No, I lied. That was half an hour ago. I don't think I dropped half an hour ago, right? I don't know. Don't know what's up. Seems like it's just this area. Oh well, we'll just power through it. Where was I? Okay, so we need to response topic is that, and then we do subscriber name is. We can still use this topic is response topic. Response channel is that. Except what I really want to do is put this in here because then I can response topic. If the first thing I do is create this channel. Oh, right, because I don't have. I guess we can do this. Not that. We can make it a method, but this would just be that. Still give it an operation, that's fine, because we use that for that. But we can get rid of the snack bar parent, and we just say, oops, frame, which I kind of like more, I think. Simplifies the method signature. Unsubscribe. Defer to clean it up after. Then all of that nicely and tidily lives in there. And we just need to. We won't need that. Let's do this now. Doesn't need this now. Then this we did a little bit different because reasons? Ah, because we do this in a loop. That's why we did this differently. Okay. Because otherwise it would just error and then we'd log whatever in the snack bar. So if you tried to change like 3 and one of them errored for some reason, it would say, hey, 2 have been edited, and you'd lose that error. So response topic is connection update signal. We don't need this to live here anymore. Wait. We do, because each one needs a different this can be up here though. This we can use the same response and we need to so if we're here, we do know that we have things that has changed, so that's fine. We can do the subscription here and defer it up here to close. That should be fine as well. That way they all go into the same dealy. And why is my camera all fuzzy again? Thank you. I don't know why you're a problem child lately. Message broker name. Response topic. We dispatch the message. Here, that's that's fine. This we need to say if that Or actually, this. If it's not okay, then and I forgot to do that. Otherwise, we're good. And we do that. I think I have an extra. No. Wait, what is going on? There, yes. The highlighting was not highlighting. That was weird. And then here we can just do the same thing. Oops. We can make the response topic. This is tile delete signal. And then we await the snack bar response on data dot response topic delete tile. What if we flip that, called you tile delete like we did just a second ago? This needs the that that this being a method needs to come back up top and live with the other methods. But this is going to end up being a method as well, I'm pretty sure. Let's leave it for now. It should compile. That's what we're worried about there. Over here, we need to response topic. Like so. And then I think we had them in there just to make it clear that there was no response being sent. Same here. And here. And then you guys need this, that. That's all still going to be broken, but that's fine because we'll come in here. If you're not this, then broker dot dispatch message response topic response results. Result just needs to be put into not that. What did I call you? Map edit message. Let's actually call you map event. I like that, I think. Message type is update, sure. Data is result. There is no response topic. That. And then this looks the same if we're down here as well. This will look the same. Whatever I called you. That. Could argue that it was probably more correct the other way. It's fine. It'll be fine. I'm sure I'll change it later. This. Did I mess that up? Above. No. Okay. I think we're good for that part. Let's test to make sure that things are working with the new response stuff. And then we'll finish up the title click bit. Nope. Unhandled message type. Received by edit bar. It had no type to it. That was a tile update. response topic. Message type updates. That should have been that. Shouldn't be running on this channel though. Oh. Crap. Did I just really screw myself over? I think it did. It uses the same channel for topics. I forgot about that change. Crap. I forgot I made that change. It pulls out the existing channel if you re-register with the same name. Which means it comes in on this channel, which means it gets intercepted and grabbed by this first. That is probably still the correct behavior, because if you're listening for multiple things, then you don't want different channels. You just want one channel. But hang on. All I need to do is just take and not do this. Do this. This. Because it will create a new channel, because this is a different name. And then when it unsubscribes, it'll go away. I just need to also do that over here. In button bar where we do this. This will also be this is temp subname. And I forgot to defer my unsubscribe. Because this handles that. It's fine. We don't need to change that. Okay. Now we should be back to working. I hope. Why is my bar missing? Does that sometimes? File update successful. Successful. Okay. Good. Good. Yes. Ooh, we need to fix that too. But I'm glad that I didn't just shoot myself in the foot. It has been almost 2 hours. I'm going to take a quick break, use the restroom, and refresh my beverage. And then we'll finish getting the await tile click here in, and we'll just start with logging it, I think, to kind of keep with that Lego bricking analogy, right? So that we can validate our ideas, and then we'll worry about how to display stuff, right? All right, be right back. All right. Beverage acquired. Let's get. Make sure everything's happy after that little blip earlier. Seems to be. Hopefully. All right. I think we're good. So the tile click now. If we were to do the same thing here, which I think we want to. We would need to put. We need to make you a method, which fine. I'm okay with, I think. But also, we need to know. I'm going to grab this because it's going to look mighty similar. But this is click awaiter. We don't have operation, which is fine. This has a response topic, but no, we can't do this. Can't do this because map is just going to be broadcasting. Okay. Crap. That's okay. I'm still happy with that other change, right? The rest of this, I'm much happier to have that running on the same bus and not separating out channels. But map widget won't know to respond on a different thing because the on clicks are already registered for this. So I think this whole thing goes away. But the the handler for this not these. We're still going to have to put a state into it. This won't need a broker. What it will need is a reference to the edit bar. So on click for the adder, we need a state. This will need to go away eventually too, but that's fine for now. We need to have like a waiting click. Let's get you out of here. Give you, yeah, we need to hand you added bar because otherwise you don't have access. We could make you a method, but I don't think that makes sense in here. On click, we would do that, but then how are we going to get the we need to do something different here. It's not a waiting click, we do that. Or rather, we could do it this way. Oh my gosh. Hmm. The other thing we could do but how do we get this into the other thing is how do we get the information about what tile we're on, because tiles are kind of divorced from the concept of the connection list. I guess we could do the pattern we've done before, where we could say that there's a handler for this, that we pass it. So on selected connection, we don't actually want the button, right? Because well, hang on. Put that back. I think I'm having form parent do too many things. Or the table frame. I think this needs to go back. We don't do that. You just go back to being very simple. Then you don't need this at all. We can keep you in here as you were. I'm quite happy with that. What we really just need to do is have its own function, I think. And then this isn't a flag anymore. But what kind of funk are you? You're a funk that takes a gosh, what did I call you? Room tile widget. Right, because we broke you out. So this becomes not equals nil. And also it's activator. And then we can say what we need is another element that is going to handle this. So it's going to be, I don't think, it'll need access to anything in the edit bar. Let's find out. Add connection button, which takes a parent and this tile this um does this set up? Maybe it does. Maybe this is enough. Return a button, that's fine. New button, parent, set icon, icons dot add, and then on click, we set up a handler. Let's call you connection button. What if we return a function? And this is we say we call on click on the on click. Can I not do that? That's what I do. Hmm. No. Crap. I was really thinking that I could reuse my existing stuff, but I didn't really think about the nuts and bolts of getting a clicked one. Let's take a look at. Tell you what, we're gonna do this because I'm happy with this direction. Real quick, we just take these out, then we have a commit that encompasses just our work to get responses. Use the same message bus or use the message bus system instead of creating new bespoke, very temporary channels. In the cases of some of them, it's still just a single. My camera blurry again. In the case of some of them, it's still just a creation and deletion after the operation is over, which is not great, but it's fine, right? But the fix the connection edits can all use the same one, right? So that's a win. And it's just nicer. It's just nicer. That way I don't have to worry about closed channels and stuff like that. If something crashes and it puts a message into there that's not handled, it's just going to get dropped. Well, it's gonna error on being able to find, the six to send to that, and it's gonna log. It's nicer. It's cleaner. It's better. The other thing is kind of the getting the on click. That's just kind of hairy. So it makes sense to split it out. So let's think here. If we leave this separate, that's fine. On a tile selection, Either way, what we do here is, if there are, for creating new tile connections from this tile, either way you slice it, this needs to exist. What does it do? It creates a placeholder onion tree that gets added to the connection table frame. That being the case, this always needs to exist. Even if there's no connections. It'll be empty, but it still exists. Apply. This should connect the tiles with the provided data. So we need to get a placeholder constructed. In order to construct a placeholder, this takes a connection. So origin, destination, and direction. And it's going to check both ways. So if we're going to do that, we just need to make a tile wrapper, right? And that lives in connection tile. Once we have, let's take a look at selected connection. Create transit data, which is a list of connection update data. So we need to create this, right? Connection edit widget. Well, actually, we'd only need this, which is connection update data. Create transit data takes a connection tile widget. We don't do that for selecting tiles. For selecting tiles, we connection table frame, Create transit data. Okay, we do. We drive it off of that. Because we can get the neighbors, pull the connections in. That makes sense. So we effectively just need to build this. We need to await the click. And then we have a source and a destination. Okay. So. And that is... So we need to figure out if it already exists or not. Set those. Tile wrapper. And why do you live in connection tile exactly? Because you get used here a lot. You get used there, right. Because we need to also reference the button, which makes sense. So. Wait, no, I lied. It's because you get used by map widget and edit bar. Okay. So this needs the connection table parent. Origin or this tile. That's it. Has to be a method because we need to make a widget out of it, which needs to be a method because it calls update on the frames anytime you mess with it. And it needs to know about scale provider for right now, so that's why. In a while, perhaps we can make it just a function, or maybe we don't care. But for now, it does need to be there. So that means that it has to be a method for this as well. Okay. we effectively just need to build a origin transits. Okay. This will already exist if it exists. So this, we just need to generate this, but for the correct direction. Okay. So if we put the function here, let's kind of keep you together. Connection edit widget. Yes. Handle new. Connection. You need that. What we want is actually this. Because here's what we want to do. Is we want to return a function that will build, right? Connection update data? Yes. But we need to have that. We need to check if it exists already. If there's already a connection UUID. Because they share those, right? Double check my sanity here. Comment you out temporarily. I want you. So if we were to look at 32 to 42, nope, 32 to 42. Connection ID is B96CD42. If we were to look at this, it's B96CD42. That's correct. It uses the same ID. This is different though. Right, because this middle object, this thing is like the transit, but transit isn't really a thing we deal with. It's just an intermediary. It works under the hood. So yeah, we're good to create a new connection ID. This is a string, right? Yes. This we need to create based on map tile button. This we need to create on not room tile, target room dot map tile room dot button. Direction is map tile dot location dot vector 2 dot not target frame room dot map tile dot location but that is not correct because it's not a cardinal. This needs to be cardinal from point, which is why we need our to do and we string that. Those are that. These I don't think can be nil. Where do we create our form? Connection edit widgets. Yeah, we handle nil gracefully, but we want it to not be nil. So we just need. Oh, wait, no. We handle that. Okay, so we can be nil, I think. Believe. I don't really want to grok through all that just to confirm. We'll do this first to make sure it's working correctly, and then we'll refine. So we create the update data. And this We then do this. This is a, yeah. But this is the target frame. This is update data. No? So, on click, we call this thing and then this takes that as an argument, and also that. So, up here, we call add connection button. We give it connection section and new connection handler. Connection section. We have this tile, right? Yeah, we have tile widget. That. Now, you need to have new button, off the parent, set icon, add. That. Just that. Oop. Right, this is where we need our... We need to await a... Crap. This needs to not take this argument. It's just a func. Because this needs to also do... It needs to get this. How does it get that? Can I do this? No, I don't need that. That's for differing. This is if I do this. Call you a waiter. You're this. That. Well, no, because we want. You need to. It's maybe a fool's errand. So if this grab this and we'll just pare it down. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I might be completely off in crazy land. We only need the one. Don't need that. We don't need anything but a select by target waiter. This we still need to deleted too much. Um, that, yeah. Then we can say you can be that, and then waiter equals target room waiter. B for EB dot click waiter equals nil. Don't think this is going to work like that. Let's find out though. And let's also just say see if that'll fire or not. And then up here, you do need to know about data though. Wait a minute. Don't eat this because I can't. Got myself real confused there, didn't I? What have I done that's I'm confusing myself? I'm getting like 3 different concepts mixed up. This is crap. Go away. This. Because this is target room. New connection handler. Because the okay, so the on click needs that. Click a waiter. Handler. So then that. Then that. So on a click of this, it sets that up. So that when we click, we get this and we do all this work. Because it sets that, and then we can't call it like that. But because we call it here when that happens, we're done. So up here we need to nil it again, right? Still don't know if I'm crazy here or not, but we're going to find out. I don't think I added the button, but it built or compiled. Okay. So nothing happens when I click E. That's okay. Because event bar listener shutting down. That's because I returned. I shouldn't have returned. Break is what I should have done. And then in here, let's go ahead and do what I was trying to do earlier. And log a thing that says we have indeed hit the clicky. So here, 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 I did clicky and I got a map tile. Okay. Ah, crap. That's not what I wanted to do at all. I was busy thinking crazy function thoughts. Relaunch that. We're getting clicky. It's just not, it's because is it you that has, who has my connection edit widget? Set state. It's the, well, no, you should still have your expander button. You shouldn't be. Did I just pick a poor example? Perhaps. Click on you. Click here. You already exist, though. So let's delete 253. I need to frame update there, but we also frame update and buttons update after all of these. I think I only need frame update because we've changed. Actually, we might be able to get away with new connection handler dot. Actually, you wouldn't be expanded, and I want you to be. Turn the selected connection. I need to set a visibility. We'll do that later because we also need to set it for when we refresh a thing to not collapse everything again. But for now, here, can I do that? No, because you're a node. Let's just do a frame update and see. That'll help me to get them to show up. Let's see. Let's go for 2. So we'll delete you. We'll apply. Yes. And it has no data yet, but 32 to 42. 32 to 42. Okay. We need to solve for the fact that it got added after, which is not what we want. Could I do this? And then not. Then we can just do an else here. Because we still have our log message, we should be able to tell if it goes away or not, or if we go back to. Although it should have been working because we were able to select. So 32 to 42, apply, click off, click back, just for funsies. Okay, so there it added correctly. It was, oh, this was 42 to. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 only. Okay, yeah. No, you didn't. You switched. You didn't. It's because. I don't need a break. I can do that. It's because this on click ends. Like it fired and then it ended, so it would have called that defer. Okay, so 32 to 42 will delete you. Oops, I deleted the whole town. This is 34 to 44. We'll apply. We won't delete. Click here. Click there. Okay, so now it did put it back down at the bottom. But that's because I put this into that again. I need to not do that. It needs to go into the parent. But that's fine. If I just apply that, it does put in a blank connection. But it gets the default values. So that's kind of fine. Okay. I'm really surprised that that works. Just because it's a crazy idea. It's absolutely unhinged, right? To just yeet a different handler in on the fly like that. Like it works, obviously. It's just it feels insane. All right, so let's get rid of the log. We don't need that anymore. And we'll get a commit going here. We'll say push that up. Let's fix the Hardware goes into the wrong frame. We're just going to put you into form parent. So now if I shouldn't actually need to delete, I can create a new one. What happens if I try? Uh, 3.2, 4.2. It overwrites it. Okay, that's not ideal, probably. But it makes sense because currently there's a map with directions, so that's probably okay for now. We just need it to not overwrite because it's surprising, right? So what we should do is in our um new connection handler. If this tile dot map tile dot get transits at target direction okay. We'll just do that. Well, target frame. We can say connection edit widget. It should be in connect the selected connections already. So maybe we don't do this. Maybe instead we say no, index already selected con range b dot selected connections if already selected con dot update data dot direction is target direction. Dot string. But because we're here, we don't allow for more than one direction or more than one connection for to a exit from a direction. Let's word it that way. So that should be fine. So here's where we need to just print this for now so that it stops complaining. So what we need is for a selected connection that. And then we make the expanded connections or the connection objects, which is let's think here. In both cases, it should be the same. Start with tile though. This clears my selections though. So maybe we can't do that like this, but that's probably still fine. Let's do this. We can do what's the syntax I want here? because we don't have crap. How do I want to do this? I want to so if we put this up here, um, do this, set that, except for that's backwards. Then I could also do let's put this here just for the sake of locality here. And I can say, what do we call transit container update? Updater. Then we add if we do this, Could I perhaps do this? Can't do that directly, but this is what I want. I think that. No? Is that insane? Or will it work? Well, the answer is yes. Kind of. Kind of. That's a thing, huh? It's because this I need to also do this only drives the style. This drives the state update. Space those out. Otherwise, every time it gets rebuilt, it was toggling. Or maybe I'm wrong. They're flipped. Why? That's that's a thing, huh? Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm silly. Put that back. Put all this back. Um, this, you do that. Something sets you to form container. Ah, I see. Hang on, let me back that up. We would have to style you. Expanded. If it's true, you set the state to visible. Invisible is false. Otherwise, we do that. And we also need to flip that. But we do that anytime you click. Is that correct? Let's find out. The small one. Everything's still real wonky. All right, let's roll this back. It breaks things in surprising ways. Are we using... We are using the connection that gets built. Hmm. How do I want to do this? Could put... Nothing is really using the parent, the wrapper, the transit container right now. Right meow. What if instead of that I returned the form container? But that doesn't go into, yeah, that wouldn't give me anything. That doesn't go into the connection. Could though. Instead of this, not that, this. And then we could hang a method off of this guy that says toggle visibility. And we just say oops. We borrow actually all of this. And we just call, we'll have to fix it in a second, move it up. But this just goes here. And this is sc dot. And then our on click for this lives here, and it calls toggle visibility. And then everything works again? Maybe? Okay, yes. And then we can then come back down to here. Ba, 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 ba. And toggle visibility. Actually, we're going to say if eb dot select connections index dot form container dot is visible. Specifically, if it's not, then we toggle it on. And then eb dot select connections dot not dot, but index form container dot scroll this to top, let's say. So then if we were to be confused about the world, let's see, we'll delete that just for funsies. And we'll say add, oh wait, no. Yeah, crap, I shouldn't have deleted. That's fine. Cancel. This, we need to add a modal here that says, hey, select, or here rather, but that's fine. Here, 33 to 43, if I'm like, oh, hey, Let's do the top. No. We need to test both cases. So 3-3 to 4-3. It would expand that and not do what I wanted to do. But it did try to scroll. It just did it wrong for some reason. So that works. If it was already expanded, let's just say 3-3 to 2-2, and I had this one open, and I'm like, oh, I want to connect to 3-2. Because I didn't. I'm silly. That's part of my problem. All right, let's try that again. So if I'm in here and I'm confused, I'm like, hey, I want to connect 3-2 to 4-3. Tried to scroll, it just didn't. Cancel you. 3-4 to 2-5, let's say. What the world? Three two, 4-2, let's say. Scrolling is kind of working in that case. But this should be, yeah, this is the invisible one. That's, let's take a look. Three two to 4-2. Visibility, false. Ah, I'm an idiot. That's what's happening. I don't know if this is going to work or not because it might need to be the full Helio full frame, but we'll find out. 3.2 to 4.2. It will work. Okay, fantastic. The scroll to top didn't fire, I don't think, but that part, good. Which actually means that I don't need call frame update here, I don't think. Which is one less update, which is always a good thing. Now, see if it thinks it's scrolling or not. Thinks it scrolled. But sure didn't, right? I think their scrolling is kind of wonky in general. Scroll this to top. That what I just had. I might have just brain farted real hard right there. 3.2 to 4.2. Scroll to this. Well, at least it knows that it didn't scroll that time. We're going to do that and hope that they fix it at some point. It might take a bug report. I'm not sure. Scroll this to top tells this widget's parent frame to scroll so the top of this widget is at the top of the visible range. What if I did... If I put the expander in there? That. Then I could say... Expander, scroll this to top. Because that doesn't get hidden, so maybe it's a race thing. So let's go 3-3 to 4-4. Nope. What if we were to do that and then, okay, it's 3-3 to 2-4, let's say. 2-4. Okay, that would work. Is it perhaps... the fact that I was already kind of in the same pain-ish? That's where it seems to struggle the most. It seems to be better when things are way out of range. So let's say, again, 3-2 to 2-3. So 2-3 is our target. And if we're down here, we're like, hey, yeah. Now, he just 3-2 to 2-3. So here, okay. That would work. Except for it didn't. It didn't put the button. Okay, so the button is the way because that'll get... This only put the form. This needs to... The button needs to be there for context, right? So that's fine, I guess. And if it was collapsed... Yeah. Same deal. We'll go 3-3 to 2-4. And if we're down here, 2-4, boom. If it was collapsed and we were down here. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's do a commit here. If we select a tile that is already connected, scroll to that connection, expand it if needed, or just and expand it if needed. All right, that solves our overwriting trubs. So, what can we do that's quick and easy? Because we're coming up on the end here. It is Monday. It's been a quiet day. Everybody must be having a chocolate Easter bunny hangover and not hanging out on Twitch. They must be hanging out on the couch taking a nap. Okay, so let's do... What did I make a note for myself? I made vector 2 operator hangs off a tile and takes destination tile arg. Let's put that in map. Well, which origin tile, destination tile? Yes. These both apply to map tiles, so yeah. The other thing we can do is yeah, let's just put it on the. Let's go to a map tile. And we'll call you, we'll keep vector 2 around just because that's handy. And actually, we're going to use it in here anyway. We'll have which is a tile as well. And if we spell that correctly, then that might actually work. Except for you're not called. Your direction.cardinal. Cardinal from point location dot vector 2 target location. Just like that. What the heck? How did I do? How did I do that? Anywho, just happened while I was messing around down there. So there we go. Cardinal 2. And then edit bar. This tile that map tile dot cardinal 2. That. Isn't that so much nicer? Same thing here. Cardinal 2, and then you take out location, just tile. And then I don't remember. Oops. Oh, everything should still work. Things seem pretty good to me. We need to one last thing here. When we do our Helio here and we add it, we need to connection handler. Um, just in case anything wonky has happened while you were selecting, we want to make sure that we show you, hey, we just made this thingy and you need to put data in here, please. Cancel that. Just do this. Connect you. That scroll didn't work at all, did it? Okay, well, we'll take it out then. If it's going to be crap, then come in here, delete you, we apply. At least it expands. Maybe it's an order of operation thing. Update the frame. That. Nope. Scroll to this, maybe? Because theoretically, it should always go at the end, right? So maybe that's the answer. It doesn't do anything. Okay. Disappointing. But did there we go. All right. And I think that is where we're going to call it for today and for the week. It's time for me to go do other things, most notably look for jobs. So thank you to everybody who swung by. It was great to see you. We will do this thing again next end of the week, on Friday. Same time. Schedule is on my page on Twitch. Yeah, hope to see you again. And if not, hey, you know what? You have a great week anyway. And we'll catch you